right. Figured more about 108 or something. Something like that. That's about what we budgeted.
Call meeting order Monday, March 7th. Roll call, please.
Mayor Henderson.
Here.
Troy Boone.
Here.
Troy Doden.
Here.
Joel Wolke.
Here.
Art Schott.
Here.
Teresa Swigan.
Here.
Mike Tiedemann.
Here.
Agenda was sent out. There's one change to the agenda. That's to strike the request to replace countertops at the Bridges Clubhouse. We're going to talk about that at a future date. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Okay, now is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
Motion by Spagan and seconded to adopt the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Minutes were sent out on Friday for the February 22nd, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Doug moves we approve the minutes from the February 22nd meeting.
I'll second that one.
Motion by Doden and seconded to approve the February 22nd, 2022 minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. First item, public hearing for the package off-sale liquor license for Casey's, 910 West Cedar. Is there anybody who would like to speak for or against the off-sale license? And I don't think we don't really have to say anything else.
Everything has been turned in as for fees, the applications, the operating agreement's all been signed. I have it all waiting.
It's all been approved by the state and everything, no?
Nope, after tonight, I'll send the application to the state.
Gotcha.
What kind of time frame are you looking at?
About a week turnaround to get the license. But they actually can start selling it tomorrow if it's approved.
Do we need to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the liquor license for package off-sale liquor license Casey's store number 2830 at 910 West Cedar in Beresford?
Shall I make a motion for package off-sale liquor license for Casey's 2830, 910 West Cedar, Beresford, South Dakota.
Second.
Motion by Schott and seconded to approve the package off-sale liquor license for Casey's, 910 West Cedar, Beresford. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Get your shelving in there, Nancy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Good luck.
I'll put stuff. Morning too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Visitors to be heard, Shane Bryan, Beresford Baseball.
How's it going? Ready to stand up or anything? Or okay. Mayor, council members, we're doing a fundraiser on April 1st. First of its kind, I believe, for the teeners through Legion and then the high school baseball team. Just wondering if we can potentially get a reduced price on that since it is for a Beresford sister function.
Have you talked to Ben about that?
I did, and I think he sent over something for everybody.
Did I miss that in the packet?
No, it's on the email. If you go back to the original email.
Yes, on the
Shane, what are you guys doing that fundraiser for? Like, is there anything
So the
specific?
fundraiser, sorry, I had to come from practice too right away. So the fundraiser is essentially raising money for uniforms. So this year we're doing all new uniforms. So each player is getting 2 jerseys, pair of pants, hat, belt, and socks. And it'll be theirs. They pay basically a $50 fee, which they typically pay when they sign up. And the fundraiser is going to pick up the other $72. And uniforms in total are $7,000 for 60 uniforms. We have 20 kids signed up for high school and around 43 right now for summer. We anticipate that number will climb a little bit for the older boys because we pick up players from other towns. I'd also like to get to a point where traveling, that these kids aren't driving home because this is a non-sanctioned sport. we don't have the use of the school buses like other sports do. We'll have to pay, and I did find out this year, which is a good thing from talking to Gerald's. I think it's Gerald's, right? So,
Business manager?
yep, he was saying that we can actually rent the buses, which is really cool. We pay basically the bus driver's wage, we pay for the gas, and as long as they have a free bus that night and a driver, they'll help us get to and from, like say we go to Wagner. I don't need a 14-year-old driving home from Wagner that's driving to the game, and I think every parent in the baseball program is all for that. So this year I anticipate we'll probably raise, because we're doing a silent auction, gun raffle. I don't know if you've seen that flyer, it just went out last night. We have 8 guns on there, and then a 50-50 raffle, and then we'll just do a spaghetti dinner for a free will donation. We anticipate the guns alone will pay for the uniforms, and then the rest will be to help with travel and tournaments for the boys. And then next year, we won't have that uniform cost, because we'll do it again next year. Hopefully we'll start getting some funds in there where we can do some tournaments and go towards maybe warm weather in March and April, where they can actually kind of play in a few more games than we typically get in the spring.
Regarding the bus thing, so where I grew up, this would be an idea the school probably won't go for it, but they leased a bus to the city for $1 for the summer, and they just had to cover the school district's name on the side of the bus. And then the coaches went and got a chauffeur license or a license, and they drove the bus.
Oh, okay.
So then every player, they figured out the miles and the fuel costs, and every player just had to pay. That was for like Legion, so he had to pay so many dollars at the beginning of the summer that covered the fuel.
Nice. And that's essentially what Jared's telling us. He goes, if you pay for,
But you have to hire the drivers.
we have to pay the hourly wage for the driver. So if we go overnight to Rapid City, like next year, at the beginning of April, we want to go over there and play a few games. Because sometimes they can be a little warmer than we are. That just depends on, it could be 70 one day and we're 30, or they could be 30 and we're 40. But if we go over there, you'd have to pay for the driver. I think he said we would pay for the drive over and the drive back, and the driver we'd pay for a couple of meals a day that the hotel would pick up, just as a courtesy more. I mean, he said we don't have to, but it's a nice thing to do when someone's volunteering their time. And then the gas mileage, he said they get about 8 miles to the gallon on even the new buses. So, and I did actually, I told them we'd like to buy a bus. And they have an old Ford bus that they can't trade in on like they did the other buses and get is it a quarter of the value back? So they might be interested in selling us that Ford bus that's gasoline down the road. And that'd be kind of cool, we could do that, and then we just have to get somebody into a CDL. Because all those laws have changed now, where you have to have a true CDL now.
Yeah, back then you just had to have a chauffeur's endorsement or something.
So high school baseball is not sanctioned,
No.
but softball will be?
Yeah.
It's not sanctioned.
So-
High School Activities Association.
So baseball, they brought it up at our yearly meeting this year. Hey, some of the senators in the state are asking, what do you guys think about sanctioning baseball? And they pushed it off till next year. So right now, 62 out of 64 possible districts in the state that could form a baseball team have a baseball team. So they've already got it where they've almost got the whole state participating in some way or another. A lot of towns like us in Alcester, we joined. Now Centerville's joined with Irene, Viberg, and Gayville. Because the mindset in the state is a lot different than the mindset of the state. I grew up in Illinois where we always had summer and spring baseball and it was sanctioned. But here, it's always, the focus has been on summer and not so much spring, and now everybody's trying to change that. You kind of share kids with track and
So if it does become sanctioned at some point, then the school would provide
the school would provide all that. Yeah. I would envision 3 to 5 years, depending on how softball goes.
Yeah.
And I know it's a Title IX thing, I think, right now, where they're offering it for softball, but I don't, looking at Beresford's numbers, I don't think we're one of those schools that our numbers are off for Title IX. I'm not a Title IX whiz or anything. can read through it and see what numbers. You have to have a certain percentage of girls available for sports like boys. You have to have a certain number of options available for girls like boys. And I think softball should put us where girls are, where they should be, to where baseball can eventually jump in.
It's usually the football numbers that
Yep.
throw it off.
Yep.
That's why there's usually more sports for girls offered than boys, because football has so many kids participating.
You are exactly correct. It's the same with universities as well.
Yep.
And in order to keep that federal grant money, you have to make sure you're title.
So back to the thing. So what was the normal rate out there? I don't even know.
I think it's $5.50, and he was saying he could reduce it to $2.75, or depending on what the board wanted to do.
I guess I don't even know why we're hearing it. He's the manager, he can set the price. I mean, I'm sure Ben's super easy to work with. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I think the board has to vote on it.
I don't think so.
That's what Jerry told me.
He's the manager, he
A
can do what he
couple
wants.
years ago, we did it where if it was a fundraiser, they could get a percentage off. I think it was 50% off.
Right.
Yeah, it was dating back
Like Auckland days, I think.
quite a while ago.
Is that
And
an
if somebody-
ordinance or just a rule?
I think it was a resolution.
I don't even know if it was a resolution. Might have just been an operating.
Procedure?
I remember we talked about it. Cause it's set up and turn it on everything else and get reduced rate if we.
If it was a nonprofit. function, something like that.
Right.
I'm comfortable with whatever been decided. I mean, be the boss up there. That's why we have him out there.
So what do we need?
So we just make a motion to let them set the rate for the fundraisers in baseball.
I don't know why we'd even need to do a motion. I mean, he's the boss. He can set it up.
We don't know if we need to do anything on that.
I don't think we do. If something happens out there for customer service reasons, he has to come up around the golf or something. He doesn't check with council first. He makes commanding a decision and moves on. Same thing with this. So
Yeah, I kinda agree with Troy Green.
Hey.
There's no liability.
we gotta stay consistent. We're charging other nonprofits 50% if they're doing a fundraiser. So I think if that's what Ben said, I mean, I think that seems fair. And $2.75 is pretty cheap for a facility like that.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think part of the thing was there's fixed costs.
Yeah, set up and tear it down.
They have to bring stuff in, set it up, tear it down, toiletries, just disposable stuff that costs money, and that was where
The water.
I think the council, a number of years ago, decided to do like a 50% reduction, but still try to cover the costs, so we're at least not losing money, basically.
I was just told I had to be here. And I think it wouldn't be bad anyways for everybody to.
Yeah,
I
that was
haven't
on
met some
our,
of you to meet yet. I have a lot of visions for this program. And I'm not going anywhere, hopefully, for a while. And I'd like to bring it back to where it used to be, 12, 15 years ago.
sounds good.
So if the board ever also has questions for me, let me know. I'm also the varsity coach, and I'm also on the BBSA board, so if something pops up that you want me in here for something, let me know. I'll come in and be an advisor on anything baseball. So, yeah, that's how it is. Just let them know. And he just said Ben and Jerry weren't sure, so they said bring it in front of the board. I don't know.
I think we'll defer to what Ben and you come up with. And
I think Ben even said 29 sales. I mean, we don't know how big it'll be till we do it. We're hoping that it'll bring a good draw. And
hope so too.
yeah.
Advertising. I didn't.
Well, this thing's already shot all over Facebook. I think last night, within 30 minutes, I saw it had reached 208 people. So I don't even know what it's reached today.
What's the date of it again, James?
April 1st at 6 p.m.
Is it a weekday or
Friday.
Friday?
The key would be alcohol sales.
Yeah, and the bar will be open. So we're not gonna put and maybe this, I don't think I need a vote, but maybe just feedback. And we thought maybe no bar in there because the kids are gonna be helping out. I don't know if that's
you have to figure that out.
exactly. No, it's my choice, but I don't wanna do it. I'd rather just leave the bar open and people walk across.
They can go across, you mean not in the hall?
Yeah, you know how they'll set up that, like weddings and banquets, they'll set up that temporary bar.
Yeah.
I thought, I've got 45 kids in there, helping them clean up and do all the, checking the bathrooms, making sure there's not paper towels all over the floor. And,
Well, you want the right people writing the checks to go to the side of the bar,
yeah.
and kids to stay on the other side.
Yeah. And I don't need those kids. Oh, here's a beer can empty. Yeah, they're walking across the
Ben's the guy, he's got a good handle.
Yeah, I think he'll have an extra person in there that night anyway. I'm sure the guns alone are gonna bring in quite a few people, and you figure 45 kids, their parents, families. So hopefully a good turnout, and we'll kind of know what direction we need to go next year.
The guns are sold out on auction, you said?
The guns are gonna be like a deck of cards raffle. Have you ever seen those?
Oh, yep.
So they'll sell the decks of cards, and then they'll take the matching decks and throw them into a barrel, and they'll pull out the winning card. So like the first, I would guess like the Savage, we have a Savage 64 22 long rifle. It's a cheaper gun. We'll sell 2 decks at $5 a card, just to make double. All we're trying to do is make double the money on the gun, and then that will pay for uniforms, and everything else can go towards something else.
Okay.
And I think people like it once you start doing it, because you raise the value, obviously, once we get up to kind of the AR or the Kimbers are a big name, the Micro 9s, you can do $10 a card or $20 a card, or you can auction the cards. Kind of something new. Try it out, see how it works. Next year we'll obviously try to do one gun with a raffle, like the fire department did. Because you can make a lot more money for the fundraiser off that. But I didn't have that time this year. But I'm always open to anything. I don't need to take up probably much more of your time, I'm assuming. So if you guys ever have questions for me, let me know.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Jay.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
No committee reports, correct?
Correct.
Department head, Ben Ryder. Are we striking the whole thing or redo the fees?
We're striking that whole number 7.
Oh, so whole number 7 is being struck. Next item, old business. Consider second reading and adoption of ordinance 2022-01, an ordinance amending chapter 14 of the Beresford zoning regulations. This was the item that we talked about last 2 meetings.
So Freeburg did send me a statement. I don't know if you want me to read it, but it just said the ordinance has been before them for a 3rd time, so it should not have any questions. Everyone seemed to be in agreement with this version, which allows for rebuilding in non-conforming use if the primary structure is destroyed in some involuntary fashion, and as long as it is rebuilt in the exact same footprint as the damaged structure.
We need a motion.
Yes.
Shall make a motion. We need adoption of ordinance 2022-01, an ordinance amending chapter 14 of the Beresford zoning regulations.
Second.
Motion by Schott and seconded to consider second reading and adoption of ordinance 2022-01, ordinance amending chapter 14 of the Beresford zoning regulations. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Liquor store building. Did we get anything from?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. We might have to table that then as well, unless anybody has any other updates.
Tomorrow morning I'm meeting with Casey's. They have started to bring in containers already, and then they're going to start packaging things up tomorrow, and then on Thursday they'll actually be removing the product, which will be good.
Has Westra or the auctioneers walked through this?
They did about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I can call and follow up and see what hold up is. Anything else? New business, resolution 20. Are we doing the fees?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2022-04, bridges golf fees. There was a handout, I think the rates just went up about $2 or so for
Yeah.
around the golf. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Motion.
I think so, yes.
Shall I make a motion for resolution 2022-04, bridges golf course fees as enclosed in our packet, which.
Second. Motion by Schott and seconded to consider resolution 2022-04, bridges golf course fees. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Review bids for the outdoor LED sports lighting fixtures and hardware for the Lawrence ball field.
So this afternoon at 3 o'clock, we opened the one bid that was received, and I made a copy for everybody, the front and back. The one sheet is the official bid sheet, and then on the back side is what the bid came in at.
Do you need a motion to accept the bid from Wesco Distribution in the amount of $99,234?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Doden and seconded to accept the bid from Wesco Distribution for the ball field lighting in the amount of $99,234. Any further discussion?
What was the budget? What do we have budgeted for that?
100,000.
So there'll be some more expenses. The electrical department will have some miscellaneous parts and bolts, miscellaneous stuff. And will they build their time into that too?
That would just come out of the electric department.
Okay.
I think Jay had mentioned he was going to get with Greg tomorrow and place the order, and so it's about 8 to 10 weeks out. Hopefully, one of the nicer spring days, they can start the project, get it going.
Nice and bright ball field this year.
No further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Subsidy drawdown request for Beresford Parks Recreation Community Education. I think the amount was $30,000.
Yes. That's the budgeted amount.
So you're gonna make a motion to approve subsidy drawdown request for PRCE,
Bruno second now.
the amount.
30,000.
And do you need that in my motion though?
30,000.
It's in there now, isn't it, Gabby?
Will you pause?
Well, you just.
Motion by Stagan and seconded by Boone to approve the subsidy drawdown to Beresford PRCE in the amount of $30,000. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Subsidy drawdown request for Beresford Baseball Softball Association.
I would make some motion to approve the subsidy drawdown for the Beresford Baseball Softball Association in the amount of $10,000.
Second.
Oh.
Motion by Doden and seconded by Brookie to approve the Beresford Baseball Softball Association subsidy drawdown request in the amount of $10,000. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Is there a motion to approve the step pay increase for Kathy Stussy to $21.69?
Shall I make a motion to approve table? That pay increase for Kathy to 21 to 69 hours.
Motion fails for lack of second. Sorry,
You
Gabby.
guys, she's a great employee. You wouldn't be able to do anything
You
without
had a
her.
second, you got that right.
Did I get a second? Yeah.
Well,
Did I hear it?
Did they hear that right? The pay increase to 41.69?
41.69?
Well, I was wondering if they were listening to 21.69.
Way to go.
Motion by Schott, seconded by Wilkie to approve step pay increase. Kathy Stussy, $21.69 per hour. Any further discussion?
I was just kidding, Kathy.
Sure.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Conversation.
Approved.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the seasonal hire for Beresford Public Library? Is it Anna?
Anna Hathaway,
At the rate of,
$10.55 an hour.
Is that the new minimum?
So she has been working at the swimming pool for the past 2 years, and then she also put 20 hours volunteer time into the library for her resume, and so Jane would like to put her at, it's not the top of the scale, it's about the middle of the scale of the part-time.
So she's not got lifeguard this year.
No, it says that she'll still work part-time, weekends at the pool.
$10.55. Shall I make a
Well,
motion?
hang on a sec, I have a question though. How much is she gonna make at the pool?
The pool rate.
Which would be what, do we know that?
That's 12 something, isn't it?
12 something.
I have it here somewhere. I thought I flagged it.
Yeah, we bumped those way up last year.
Is that gonna be a pain for you to keep track of?
No, because it's kind of like the golf course where when they work the event center, they punch in at a certain code.
Okay.
And then, so she would just punch in at the library as at
As long as you're good with it, it's not gonna cause a whole bunch of problems.
She basically has like 2 different logins, kind of deal.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Shall I make a motion, seasonal hire for Beresford Public Library, $10.55. As Jane requested.
Second.
Motion by Shot and seconded to approve the seasonal hire van at rate of $10.55 per hour. Any further discussion?
I just got one question. Glad you brought that up about the pool and library. If she works over 40 hours, if she does, how does that work?
So some are kids, they can work over 40 and
Oh,
there's
okay,
no
all right, I
overtime.
was just wondering. All right, thank you, thank you.
No further discussion, all fair say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion item, the equalization meeting is March 21st, so if you want to miss a meeting, that's the one to miss.
Deb Berglund will be representing the school. And so far we've only received one appeal. It's it hasn't actually been brought in yet, it's just been talked about, so. And I thought,
Did Lincoln County just increase mine a lot, or did they
So,
do it up more?
both Lincoln and Union County went up 15%.
Where the convention was at.
Across the
And I
board.
thought Jerry was gonna include the appeal process for the board members, but I don't see it in here, so I'll send that out.
What day of the week?
Is that 2 years in a row now for you?
I can't remember what it was last year.
First, that's a Monday, right?
It seems like they've been increasing a lot lately.
So,
But
yeah,
I'm not gonna appeal.
Is that, you know, is this 2 years in a row for Union that they've gone up now?
Did they do all of you last year?
Should go on Expedia.
I can't recall.
Or just Beresford last year? Cause I know that so was it 2 years ago they came in everybody's houses and assessed them?
It's just
So
like-
Union County has like a rotation where they'll do certain towns and townships.
Right.
Um,
So we were just lucky to get that 2 years ago and now this year.
No.
Did they give reason for the large increase?
Trying to keep up with what the state is requiring them.
Oh. Minimize any pay raises people get.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just say,
you know what it's like, don't you?
add a reason.
We don't get pay raises.
50% raises.
No. So that meeting's always fun.
I thought I read somewhere in the district that Lincoln County was doing a bunch of adjustments this
Here's
year.
what it is on Expedia.
For the,
So it'll be 300.
Not as ours, not yours.
That seems decent.
Well, I know that there's something changed with the ag, but I didn't really pay attention to it. 'Cause-
Maybe that was part of what I was reading.
Hmm?
Maybe that's part of what I was reading.
okay.
So March 21st. Is there a motion to approve the 2 travel requests?
Shall I make a motion to approve travel request?
Doing second.
Motion by Shot, seconded to approve 2 travel requests. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Right.
Opposed? Approved. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
Doing motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion by Doug and seconded to authorize payment of the bills. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. No further business from the council, meeting adjourned.
Boom.